998, 999, 1,000. Yep. Whew. All right. What's up, guys? It's your boy Pete from PFM FIT. Just did my daily 1,000 pull-ups that I do every single day. 500 in the morning, 500 before bed. Just kidding. Whew. Why am I wearing a vest, you may be asking, with a giant-ass knife attached to it? Don't worry about it. Those are not important questions. The question you should be asking today is, how do you grow your back? Because that's what we're here to talk about. Whew. A little winded after those 1,000 pull-ups I just did. One consecutive set, by the way. One set straight, 500 pull-ups. You know, just crank right through them. Anyways, we're talking about how to grow your back today. A topic that has become near and dear to me lately because I'm low-key obsessed with back. I like to think that I'm a chest bro, but that's kind of just something I've been saying. In reality, if you look at my program, which I've been doing, because I look at it every freaking day, because that's all I think about every day, every single second, every single day, is the gym. I realized that I've actually become a shoulder, arm, and back bro, with chest kind of being like, it's still the focus point, but so much more accessories built around all these other body parts that I've become to appreciate and prioritize much more. So anyways, we're talking about growing your back today. Starting off with the first thing here, which is going to be exercise selection. Now, let's break up the back musculature into not specific exercise terms, but we're just going to break it into the exercise movements that I think you need to grow a fully developed, fully matured, fully muscular, juicy, jacked, stacked, mega barn door back, etc. We're talking vertical pulls, we're talking horizontal pulls, we're talking hinges, and we're talking shrugs and other neck work associated. So anyways, let's start off. You got your vertical pulls. That's obviously your pull-ups, your pull-downs, your pull-overs, anything alike, any variant of those kind of things where you're doing a vertical pull, which typically targets, you know, building the width, the wide part of your lats, building that lat spread, the lat sweep, all that good stuff that we all want. We always want to get wider. So you got to hit your vertical pulls, lots of it. Always want to get wider, always want to get bigger wings. But also, you can't neglect the horizontal pulls to build the thickness in your back, to build that juiciness. You can't just have a wide back and a flat back. You need a wide back and a thick back. So this is where your horizontal pulls come in. This is your rows, essentially. Every kind of row. Bent over rows, chest supported rows, horizontal cable rows, hammer strength row, every freaking row that your gym has and you can conceive in your head to do, you know, dumbbell row, barbell row, all of it. That's the money when it comes to your back thickness, in my opinion. At least that's what kind of worked for me. Because, and I particularly like dumbbell seal row, so a chest-supported row that I really like to keep my arms in tight on and heavily isolate the middle part of my back, because that has a really good stretch when the dumbbells are pulling your lats down from the bottom with that, that vertical, or no, not vertical, horizontal stretch against gravity, let's say. But yeah. Vertical pulls, horizontal pulls, kind of the first key that I would say to building a good back. But now we go lower towards the low back, let's say, where we're going to talk about hinges, which is your deadlifts, your RDLs, your good mornings. What's that one machine with it's like a little swing for your lower back? GHD, reverse hyper, that's what it's called. Anything that targets your spinal erectors and your lower back muscles, essentially. Because that's part of your back too. It's right there on your back. So we need to target that. And the best way to do it is with hinge movements. Specifically, I'm not a huge fan of the deadlift, but I do love the Romanian deadlift. I love the Romanian deadlift. That's my main movement for building strong hammies and also a strong lower back because more so than the conventional, just regular deadlift that I used to do a lot of, which, you know, it has the off-the-floor aspect. I feel like that off-the-floor aspect is really, for my body type, just a quad-dominant aspect of the movement, and I'm not really looking for that. And my form is mediocre at best, which is why I don't really like to do it. So we do RDLs instead where I've peak form and I can isolate the lower back by not touching the ground with the bar and holding it in that deep stretch position, which I feel like is like an isometric, and also like kind of doing a pause bench, or not a pause bench, like a spotto bench, where you purposely don't stop like an inch off your chest and you control that weight. So it's kind of the same effect where you're using those lower back muscles to control not letting the bar touch the ground, which is kind of the purpose of the RDL, which is why I like it, because it builds my erectors and my hamstrings, which is what I'm really trying to work on with that movement. So that's the main part of hinges. And next up, we have shrugs. My favorite movements, just your plain old barbell trap shrug. Sometimes do it with dumbbells, to go to the side for more neutral grip rather than just hold it in front. But regardless of that, either doing barbell shrugs, dumbbell shrugs, cable shrugs, PFM shrugs, which I invented. You guys have seen me do all the time. Most of my back days I throw that in, or not so much lately, but regardless, great movement with the cables and an incline bench to do some shrugs. So if you combine all of these, if you do, let's say, 1 to 2 of each of these movements pretty much, and combine that into 1 to 2 back days in the week, preferably 2 back days, or throw like 1 to 2 of each of these movements on every workout if you're a total body kind of guy, which I'm basically a total body guy at this point, the way I've been training lately. I barely train more than one muscle group with 2 exercises per workout lately. Everything is kind of just getting broken up across all my workouts, which is unique. Well, maybe it's not, but oh well, regardless. So yeah, combine your vertical pulls, combine your horizontal pulls, combine your hinges, combine your shrugs, you should have a gigantic back. Or at least that's what worked for me, because that's essentially what I've been doing. Every freaking pull workout, and lately it's been pull-ups for me, but before it used to always be lat pull down when I wasn't strong enough to do pull-ups, and I would always do some low cable row, I would always do some kind of shrug, and I would always typically start with like a hinge of like, an RDL, a deadlift, a trap bar deadlift. I would superset lat pull downs with, what's it called? The hyperextension. I have a folding hyperextension that I can take out in the home gym here. So I would superset that, hit low back and upper back at the same time, all kinds of stuff. So even though I don't deadlift, we still hit the lower back. It's not an excuse. The lower back is still getting trained. The hamstrings are still getting trained if you count that as back muscle. I factor it in more so on the legs. I'm not so much a back purist in the sense that I count, calves, hamstrings, every muscle in the back of my body as back. Though I have been known to throw some rear delts in on my back day as well, if you consider that a back muscle as well. I don't know. It's all a bit of a spectrum for the muscles, if you will. Anyways, that I think covers what I would call phase 1 of how you need to understand growing your back, which is the exercise selection. Now let's talk about phase 2, which is frequency and programming for these exercises. We touched on it a little bit with some of the structure just a few minutes ago, but we're going to talk seriously and depthly about it now. So starting off, my first recommendation for everything, pretty much all of these, all your vertical pulls, all your horizontal pulls, I recommend 2 to 4 times per week frequency, which is not particularly revolutionary. I mean, pretty much anyone would probably recommend you do that same thing. And the reason is because that pretty much works really well. If you do pull-ups twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, your freaking lats are going to blow up. Absolutely guaranteed. You're going to get wider and you're going to get stronger, which is exactly what I've been doing, because I've been getting wider, stronger, bigger back, better at pull-ups. All of the above has been happening for me lately. And I couldn't be happier, because it's making me enjoy back day that much more, which is why I'm just a back bro now, So that's another thing. And then now let's talk work in sets, because we got the frequency. You're going to train your back, all of these muscles, at least 2 times a week, except for maybe your hinges. Maybe you can get away with hinging very heavy and very hard, like once a week. But if you're doing like a not so insane variation of like, reverse hyperextensions and like, Romanian deadlifts, or, like what's that back machine where the back pad is on your back and you extend like this. Like if you're just doing like 2 machine or lighter type low back variations, by all means, throw in 2 to 3 movements of those, because you can probably handle it. But when it comes to deadlifts, unless you got the right programming, which I do not know how to program properly for that, don't particularly recommend deadlifting twice per week, because I think it's a lot to recover from. And the reason for that is because Well, if you look at your back in a mirror, which most of us probably never have, you would not see a lot of veins there, particularly, even on the leanest of bodybuilders. And the reason is because there's just not a lot of vessels of blood flowing to that area, which is why it takes so long for your lower back to recover. You know, this is why you can get away with training something like your neck or your arms very frequently, because you can literally see all the veins in these areas. Maybe not on me, because I'm not a super lean in the arms yet, but we're working on that. We got some veins coming. TBD. You know, we're working on that one. Inbound. But anyways, those can recover much quicker because they're getting a lot more blood, which was an interesting revelation. I don't remember where I heard it from, but yeah, your back takes so long to recover because it doesn't have a lot of veins and blood flowing to it to help it recover, which is why for hinges, I recommend only like 1 to 2 times per week. If you're going to do like heavy hinges, like I would not say do RDLs twice. I would say do like your deadlift and maybe like some other low back accessory movements, you know, or accessory deadlift movement like a rack pull or something like that. I don't know. Not a powerlifting expert. We're talking more for a grow your back from a get wider, get bigger, get hypertrophically more jacked basis, because I'm a bodybuilder now. Kind of just the way moving forward. Anyways, working sets. I recommend 1 to 3 sets. And when I say 1 to 3, I mean like your actual working sets. So you could get away with probably just like 1 working set is kind of works for me on most lifts, where I'll do like 2 build-up sets where I work up to my 1 working set weight. But in terms of working sets, something like a pull-up, I will do like 2 to 4 working sets, because every set is a working set when I go, you know, a few reps shy of failure, versus something like, you know, just some preacher curl or some rear delt work that I would throw in on my back day. Let's just say I would just work up to like 1 heavy top set of, I'll do like 2 sets of building up and then 1 set where it's my all out, go hard, try and hit the max reps. And if I hit the max reps, I get to add 5 pounds and go again next week and hit that same rep range. You know, usually like 8 to 12, 10 to 15. And the goal being to hit the max rep range, and then you have earned the right to add weight. Very simple way to add weight to progressive overload. Next up, speaking of progressive overload, this is exactly what we're going to talk about, which is adding reps or adding weight to your back movements, which obviously you need to do. You should be doing that in all your movements in the gym in general, because that's how you get better. That's how you get bigger, stronger, everything. You need to progress in some way, which is a funny thing I realized about bodybuilding lately, which is you're still strength training, because I'm at a point where I bodybuilt my way to repping weights that used to be maxes just like a year or 2 ago, which I found very interesting and also kind of rewarding, because I'm like, oh, not only do I look way better and way more jacked now that I've been doing more hypertrophy focused training, but I'm also repping out weight that used to be my strength maxes that I worked so hard to get to. And now I'm kind of just mogging old me, which you should always be mogging your younger self, because you should always be getting better. But it was just interesting. It was an interesting mog, because I'm just repping weight that used to be maxes, and I like the idea of that. So we need to progressive overload, continue doing that, because the more I continue to progressive overload as a bodybuilder now that my strength has caught up, I'm actually hitting PRs all the time, you know, and you want to be hitting PRs all the time too, because that's the most rewarding thing in the gym, 100%. Sure, looking good in the mirror is a great progress, but you're never going to be satisfied with that. That is always a goal that is just forever out of your grasp of being satisfied, because once you bring up one muscle group, it now has mogged another muscle group, and now you need to train that muscle group until it mogs another muscle group. And it's this cycle of mogging and unfulfilled body dysmorphia. But that's the beauty of it, because you want to be unfulfilled, because that's what keeps you going, is the drive to desire for more, you know? So if you ever get satisfied in the gym, look yourself in the mirror and say, you're not good enough and you need to do more, because that's what you need to do. That's how it works, because the grind doesn't stop. You need to keep training always and forever, keep setting new goals every time, and always add weight, which brings us into our last point, which is goal setting. So when it comes to back, we started off by talking about the different areas and muscle groups of the back, you know, your vertical pulls, your horizontal pulls, your hinges, your shrugs, all the different areas that hits, you know, having giant mountainous traps. You could have, you know, gigantic girthy erectors. You could have gigantic wide, you know, bulbous wings, let's say, you know, very voluptuous, bird-like, eagle-like even, if you would, falcon-like wings right underneath your arms, which would be beautiful. That's what I'm going for personally. So you can try and get wider, you can try and get thicker, you can try and get stronger, you can try and get more grotesque and, you know, absolutely vile looking with gigantically mogging traps, absolute monstrous traps. And I mean that in a good way, of course, because how else could you mean it? You know? So basically, what are your goals? You know, set your goals. And then with this understanding you have of the back anatomy that I just bro science explained to you, bro-splained, you know, take that understanding and pick exercises that align with your goal. Right now, I'm spamming pull-ups and pullovers 2 times a week with 1 horizontal row and 1 shrug. Before that, I was spamming shrugs 4 times a week, along with neck training. And like, I just got this iron neck machine, right? Not machine. The iron neck trainer. We're going to start using this thing soon too, and I bet I'll make a video about neck training some point in the future when I unlock the secrets of that device. But yeah, goal setting. I'm trying to get as wide as freaking humanly possible. I want to be so wide that doors yield for me, that they have to get wider and they have to construct new buildings in my image to fit me through the door. That is the goal. Barn door back, super stacked, absolutely juicy, natty supreme, mega huge, juicy back. And once my back gets sufficiently wide enough, then maybe we'll worry about that thickness problem, because we probably will have a thickness problem at some point in the future. Same with traps. So we need to go through our different back phases where we become, you know, a trap demon, a, you know, absolutely thick big booty Judy back trainer, and then a absolutely, you know, Mondo wide super freaking barn door back supreme. All of the above. Insert whatever words you want to describe your goals, but that's just whatever pops into my mind right now. So anyways, you can literally control the shape of your physique with the revelations I have just told you, okay? And you should be able to control your physique. I'm learning how to control my physique right now and shaping the way I'm going to look almost in a grotesque way, because I almost look at myself and it is like kind of funny how if you just trained certain muscles, how cartoonish you can make yourself look. And that's a good thing and a bad thing to know, because if you abuse that power and don't build a balanced physique and just spam biceps and chest and abs and that's all you want, you will train those things and you will build muscle there, but the imbalance is going to look freakishly cartoonish. I'm trying to do that to a small degree in the sense that I just need to pick up muscle groups that I have since neglected for a long time that just need to get brought back up, which is why I think my chest has been getting neglected, because the thing I had the most of in my program before was chest exercises, which is why my chest used to look so freaking good and huge. And now I'm realizing that I've mogged my chest by taking out like half those exercises and replacing it with more back, more delts, more arm, all those other isolation for different muscle groups that aren't chest. And it's making me feel like my chest is getting mogged because my chest looks small compared to everything else. But I don't think my chest has gotten any smaller, because my chest has actually gotten much stronger and I'm repping weights that used to be my bench press max. So I don't know what that says, because, well, I know what it says. Everything else has gotten huger, you know, more huge, which is a great problem to have. Which brings me back to what we were talking about earlier of never being satisfied and the using the body dysmorphia to your advantage. Because, you know, my chest used to look so good, so it made me feel ashamed of my small arms, delts, and traps, and tiny lat wings. So I went and grew all those things to mog my freaking chest. Now my chest has been mogged, and I'm probably going to go through the most disgusting cycle of chest and bench training that's going to freaking get me to a 315 bench for the first time in my life. Absolute beautiful cycle of self-hate and motivation. Harness that. Take it in. Use it as your fuel. You can do it. That's how you grow your back. Combine all these principles, rewatch this video, take notes, get your own notebook down, use your literacy skills, make notes, write it down, grow your back, set some goals. Do you want to get wider? Do you want to get thicker? Do you want to get stronger? Pick one or two or all of them. I don't care. You're going to get all of them eventually, because once you get closer to one, you're going to start being satisfied, and then you're going to think about the ones you don't have, and you're going to want to chase those. That's how it works. Just do that. That's it for today, people. The more excited I just got, the more high pitched my voice just got, and it peaked. So we're done with that. It's been your Pete from PFM FIT. Have a great day. Check out my giant knife. It's sick. That's why we have it. That's the reason, because it's sick. You don't need another reason than that. Peace, everybody.